Are you at eXp? Yes. Well, we're all one family. I don't care whose org you're in. So I think there's so much opportunity for every single person. You just have to understand what that is you're looking for and connect with those people. And no, they're not going to let you fail.
Hey there, future real estate legends. This is Jason P. Jordan, your go-to global real estate coach and the president and CEO of the Legends International team, brokered by eXp Realty. I just wanted to thank you for being here and welcome you to another episode of the Lit Real Estate Show, where we interview our equity partners at eXp Realty in the USA and from all around the globe. Now I just ask you to please subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button and hitting that bell icon so you never miss another Lit show or any other future videos that I have then launch here on this channel. It also helps the show grow so we can get even more successful eXp Realty agents on to help you. Now, at the same time, if you're a subscriber, you'll get access to new shows before anyone in the world does. If you would, subscribe right now. Thanks so much. So let me introduce our guest speaker today, Elizabeth Riley from Austin, Texas, United States. After graduating with a marketing degree from Texas A&M, Elizabeth began her career at Dell Computer Corporation in finance and recruiting. After 5 years at Dell, she joined collegehire.com as a tech recruiter for top employers on the West Coast. She made the move to real estate so that she could utilize her marketing savvy while serving her community at the same time. Over 18 years of experience as a realtor have not just been focused on buying and selling. Elizabeth is an active investor in the Austin real estate market, and she spends a great deal of time educating fellow eXp agents on topics that span the entire real estate industry. Elizabeth has been recognized both locally and nationally, I would also say internationally, as a leader in production and community commitment. She is known internally as the only agent at eXp Realty of 90,000 plus agents to icon 9 times today. She bases her work ethic and motivation around service to her clients, to her community, and to her team. All those that know Elizabeth within the industry and out of it know that she is committed to other people's success, which attributes to one of her best qualities. Elizabeth lives in Cat Mountain neighborhood in Central Austin with her husband, Wes, and 4 kids. When she's not negotiating a deal or teaching in front of hundreds of agents, she loves to escape to the Matagorda coast for fishing and family time whenever possible. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being our guest here on today's call.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, I think, or maybe it's afternoon for y'all.
Well, it's afternoon for me, but we have people on this call that join from all over the world, so it could be nighttime for them. We've even had people on the West Coast joining at 6 a.m. sometimes, so appreciate you getting up early and being here with us.
Sure thing.
So let's get in the real estate DeLorean, right? And let's go back in time and talk to us a little bit about this period before real estate and kind of what got you into the real estate industry in the first place.
Sure. So my husband was transferred to Atlanta, Georgia, he was in corporate America with his corporate job, and we were investors. We were sitting at my CPA's desk one day, and he's going through all of our stuff and our investment properties and our taxes and things like that. And he kind of looked up and he said, you know, you both are losing a lot of money and a lot of opportunity. One of you needs to get your real estate license. And I just pretended like I didn't hear him. And I just ignored that because I had no interest in real estate whatsoever. And My husband looked at me. I have the corporate job. I have the benefits. I have the security and the stability, and you need to get your real estate license. So, you know, when you're voluntold to do something that you really don't want to do, that you go kicking and screaming. And that's what I did. And I went to Keller Williams at the time. And again, this was 2004, 2005. And Keller Williams wasn't huge, really known at that point, but they were the only company that would allow me to go into real estate part-time. And they lived near my house, and it just was really convenient. And so I chose them out of convenience. But I became invested with the people there. And I just started working with people that knew me, liked me, and trusted me. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. You know, when you're enjoying what you're doing, it's not really a job. And so I was helping my friend from college buy a house, and I was helping my friend down the street buy a house. And so it really was a hobby more than anything. And so I just kind of continued down that path for a while and was a top producer in my office. And then in 2008, we had a horrible market in Atlanta. I don't know, you've got people from all over the globe, so I'm sure it was different in every place. And we were transferred to Austin, Texas. And so I got my license in Texas as well. Had to meet people. And I had one child at the time, he was 18 months old, and put him in a wagon, and we walked around in a little townhome community of 44 homes, and we met our neighbors and knocked on doors, not to get the business, but to meet our neighbors and get to know the people we were living around. And they would always ask, well, why did you move here? And what are y'all gonna do? And what's your husband do? And what do you do? And I would bring up real estate, and they would look at me like I had three heads. And they're like, oh my gosh, the world, like the market is horrible. Why would you be in real estate? And for me, it really was opportunity, because how, it's perspective. I came from a really bad market. Atlanta, Georgia was a horrible market when I left. Austin was better. So for some people it was horrible, but what I was coming from, it was a step up. And I thought, well, if people are getting out of the business and their heads are in the sand, then that's opportunity for me to build my business. People are always going to buy and sell and need to move. And so I started building my business in Austin, Texas, and was at Keller Williams again. And then in 2014, we had 650 agents in my market center, and I was number one. And that was just building it based off of referrals and relationships. So that's how I got in the business. And I was at Keller Williams for 10 years. And after I became number one, I came home and told my husband I was getting out of the business.
Wow.
Because I was on a hamster wheel.
Okay.
Yeah. And so he said, well, you love this. I said, not anymore. Right. It's a job. I had 4 children at the time. My husband traveled, Jason, you're international. My husband traveled internationally all the time. And so I had to figure out something that would keep our family unit together and keep our structure together and keep my sanity, I guess you could say.
Right.
And he said, start your own brokerage. I said, no, not interested in starting my own brokerage, not interested in going to any of these other companies. They were all lateral moves. And that's when I was introduced to eXp Realty.
So who was it that introduced you to eXp Realty, and kind of take us through why you decided to come over? I mean, you came over a long time ago in the scheme of eXp Realty years, right? So
I did. My sponsor at Keller Williams was Ian Marshall, and I had a really good friend of mine who was under me. Her name was Carrie Lucas, and they had reached out to me about a year before I even took it seriously, right? Because we always talk about timing is so important.
Right.
And when Ian had originally talked to me, I was, things were great. I was, moving right along, and I didn't feel that pain yet, right? Whatever that pain was. And so I wasn't really interested. Well, at that point, then Carrie reached out to me and she said, we could work together again. If I had stayed in Georgia, Carrie and I would have probably been a team. We would have done something together. And when I kept both of my licenses, I had to let one go, because in the typical franchise model, it's very, very expensive to be licensed in multiple states. And I could not maintain that. So I had to let my Georgia license go. And so they said we could work together again. And I was uninspired and I was bored, and I just wasn't enjoying the business anymore. And then the fact that I could work with the people that I really wanted to work with again, people join people. Even though she was in Georgia and I was in Texas, we could do something really cool. So we were going to create a cross-state team, if you will.
Right.
And that's how I got started talking to them about eXp again. And they said, would you meet with somebody? And when if you have somebody in your life you really respect, and they ask you to meet with somebody, you usually don't ask any questions. You say, sure, I'll meet with whomever you'd like me to meet with. And that was Glenn Sanford. So Glenn came into town to meet with me. At the time, again, he had 400 agents in his whole company. My one market center had 650 agents. So it was a very, very different eXp than it is now. And I met with Glenn, and he showed me the world, and we talked about, what his vision was and his past and his background. And I loved that he had a real estate background, and he was a huge producer, and he was feeling different pain points, but similar pain points. And I really think people join people, and I loved his story, and I loved his vision, and I loved his idea of how he could make real estate different for each person. It wasn't about him. And so Stefan Swanepoel, which is somebody that I've always followed, he had written an article about all the different models, and not that one was better than the other, just the differences. And there was an article he wrote in his trends report about eXp Realty, and he said, they're the Amazon.com of real estate. You don't know who they are yet, but watch and see. And so I sat there and I thought, That's interesting. Like if I had known about Amazon.com when they were selling books and I took them serious, I think all of us would have bought a whole bunch of stock and we'd be sitting in a different place right now, right?
Exactly.
But everybody thought they were crazy. And now look at Amazon. So I thought, that'd be interesting. What if that worked? And I was like, that could be really great. And I'm bored and uninspired. It'd be fun to build something, because when you build something that you own or you're a part of, it's much more exciting than building somebody else's dream. So I said, that's great. And then you always have the other side saying, well, what if that doesn't work? And for me, I said, well, if it doesn't work, I can go back to any other brokerage. They all need the top producers. And so again, just like when I moved from Georgia to Texas and I saw opportunity, I moved from Keller Williams, a big franchise, to this little unknown company because I saw opportunity, but it wasn't opportunity from what we built now. It's really the opportunity of how we build each other up and build each other's businesses. And we all were owners together. And that was what was exciting for me. And so I joined in May of 2015. I'm agent number 466. And I personally joined because of the Icon program and the stock. I thought there would be a great opportunity because I just won baseball caps every year that said capper, and that wasn't going to pay my mortgage or put my kids through school. And Glenn had this idea about stock, and I thought that could be really cool and really interesting. And so the Icon program, I was the first Icon ever named, and I'm the only one with 9. And so it's been an incredible 9 years, and I feel like we're just getting started.
You know, being agent 466, right? I mean, you've gone through pretty much all of it, right? And you've seen the biggest growth phases so far, as I would say, in our company history, because I think there's still a lot of runway left on what we're aiming to do. But, you know, if you could look into your own crystal ball and kind of look into the future, kind of look back over your period of time and your experience and kind of look towards the future, what do you see as the future for eXp Realty?
I am more excited now than I was then. And here's the reason why. First of all, we had no idea what we were doing. You know, Glenn had his idea, but we were putting the tracks in front of the train as fast as it would go. And hindsight's 2020. So when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was kind of a mess and it was painful. And, you know, there were a lot of bumps in the road that you can't really experience or explain unless you were part of it, right? And so there's an energy there and an excitement. And I'm so blessed that we were part of that. And we were very, very close with all those that we were surrounded with. But now I look at it going, holy cow, now we're proven, right? Nobody knew who we were. They thought we were crazy. They thought that we were a joke. And really, we just put our head down and we were doing something different. So now look at what we've done. We're 90,000 agents in the past 9 years, which is unheard of. We have international. Michael Valdez is amazing with what he's doing there. We've got luxury, we've got commercial, we have all these other things that are building. So I think there's no better time than now to be a part of our company. And we're just, I've said this multiple times, but we're just getting started. Every stage is a new stage. And we're the only ones doing what we've done. We're the pioneers. Everybody else is copying us, but we're out in the front. We're out there building and innovating, and it's really exciting to be a part of it. So it's not as painful as it was before. So I think it's really exciting. I know the numbers and the projections that they have put out there, and they're going to manifest, and I don't see any reason why we won't get there. I'm excited about eXp and everything to come.
You know, I agree 100% with you. And I think that the numbers that, you know, I remember sitting there in the audience at eXpCon in 2021. And that was when Glenn said that we were going to shoot for 500,000 agents in 50 countries. And he put a year date out there. And I thought to myself, well, the year date doesn't matter. It's really about the number and the countries. And that's what really excited me, because I was like, the biggest opportunity is outside the US border, right? And that's where the biggest opportunity is. And matter of fact, that's when you and I met for the very first time. We were at a VIP event, and I think I turned around, I was in line getting a glass of wine, and you were standing right behind me. And we just had a quick interaction. And I have to say, Elizabeth, when I look at, because we rattled off at the beginning of the interview, like all of your accomplishments and everything. And I look at all the people who are top alpha influencers who have been able to grow organizations at this company. You've remained in production, which is really, right? And I think about that and how you've icon 9 times, right? And you have this huge organization as well. I think you really are the unicorn, right? And I think about it, right, at eXp Realty. And you have so much great leadership that you just give freely to the community as well. Well, I heard I always ask this question, but I've heard you answer this question on a couple of videos that I watched preparing for today's call. And so I'm going to ask you that same question that I always ask as well. And that is, if somebody here today, either live on this call or watching a recording in the future, is thinking about joining eXp Realty, either as an experienced agent or as a new agent, what would one piece of advice be that you were to give them?
One piece of advice, I would just say, in whatever setting you're in, plug in and show up. You're not going to fail. And that's one of the things that really helped me succeed. You don't succeed alone. And I'm very, very aware of that. And with eXp, I mean, I was so burned out where I was prior to coming to eXp. I was, number one, I was on the top of the island top of the mountain by myself. And that is a lonely place to be. Right. And I love to serve and give and help other people. But it's so much more fun here where you can pull people up to succeed next to you and you can collaborate. And my business tripled just from making the move. So I think for people that are looking at eXp or other brokerages, you just have to really find out what you're looking for and what is going to help you in your success. But if you plug in and you show up, there is so much for every single person. We're so entrepreneurial here and everybody's willing to help because we all own the company. And whether you're in my organization or not my organization, it's funny, people will call me and they're saying, I'm not in your org. And I'm like, are you at eXp? Yes. Well, we're all one family. I don't care whose org you're in. So I think there's so much opportunity for every single person. You just have to understand what that is you're looking for and connect with those people. And no, they're not going to let you fail.
You know, a couple of quick things I wanted to unpack out of there. You said entrepreneurial, right? And that's what I always tell people is you will succeed here as an agent at eXp Realty if you're entrepreneurial minded, right? Because you got to be solution oriented, especially those of us who have been pioneers in the international markets and opening countries and doing those things. It sounds like from what you were saying is very similar to those early days that you were dealing with, you know, and our upline is Super Dave Gagnon, right? And so I would call him once in a while and say, complain about this or that. And he would just tell me, you know, suck it up, Buttercup. This is what it's like back in the US and opening states and things like that. So I also like what you said that, you know, we are all one family. And I always remind everybody we're all equity partners, right? That we all owners together, right? And so that's the mindset you have to come here, is that there is way more abundance here and abundance-minded people, and it's collaboration over competition, right? So I think that's really the key. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for taking your time to come to and be our guest on today's call. I'm looking forward to being in Lisbon with you next week. That's going to be great. And you're the keynote speaker there. So it's super exciting.
I'm excited to be there too and just meet so many more of our international family. It's fun because we're all so connected in different ways, Zooms and eXp World and things like that. But to get to meet everybody face to face, it's funny because I recognize voices before you see the faces, right? Because we're always in the world and things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.
Sounds good. Hey, I hope you found value in today's legendary interview with our special guest. If you'd like to see more interviews just like this one, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you'd like to learn more about today's guest, I placed all their contact information in the description below. Who knows? Maybe they are the mentor you've been looking for. And if you're looking to make a change who you are partnered with in real estate, feel free to book a no-pressure private Zoom call with me. During this private call, I'll share with you how we help real estate agents leverage their language skills and cultural connections to close more transactions both locally and internationally using cutting-edge lead generation technology and marketing techniques. If you want to find yourself in a different situation in 90 days or in a year from now, it's important to find the right partners that can mentor you, have the right strategies, and are willing to give you the roadmap without asking for an additional cut of your commission. With the unique eXp Realty model, it's a collaboration, not competition mentality. The numbers don't lie either. So if you're curious, reach out and set up an appointment. I look forward to meeting you. Feel free to check out the other videos I have here on the channel about eXp Realty too, in case you're just curious. Otherwise, drop your questions or suggestions for upcoming guests in the comments below. Once again, I'm Jason P. Jordan, your go-to global real estate coach with the Legends International team, brokered by eXp Realty. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.